Welcome to the Wichita Police Department Annual Award Reception. It's very nice to have all of you here. I'm Lieutenant Doug Nolte. The Wichita Police Department is comprised of many dedicated employees, and it's once a year that we take time to recognize at least two of our employees and also a citizen that has helped us perform our job much easier. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Chief Norman Williams. He's got a few remarks, and we welcome you to today's ceremony. Chief?
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I, too, want to welcome everyone to today's annual award ceremony. You know, when you have an organization with over 800 members, it's awful hard. It's a challenge to select three individuals that are really perform exceptionally during the year, and that responsibility was given to the awards committee to be able to come up with our three recipients this year as far as the different awards that we're going to be presenting, which are the Cooper McGee Volunteer of the Year, the NonSworn of the Year, as well as the Police Officer of the Year. And so there again, like I said, I just want to welcome everyone and say thank you to the awards committee because you all did a great job, and the recipients, I think they're all well deserving. I also want to say thank you to Kimberly, Monica, as well as Lois for putting together this event today and having the reception lined out for us. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'd like to ask Ms. Carol Campbell if she'd please come forward. I told you I was going to ask you to help me, and you looked at me like a deer in the headlights. So, you know, when you read the definition of volunteer in the Webster's Dictionary, it says a person who performs or gives his or her service of his or her own free will. I think this definition fits the 2012 Cooper McGee Volunteer of the Year recipient. Miss Leanne Smith, would you and your family like to join us up front, please? The Cooper McGee Volunteer of the Year Award recognizes a citizen who has displayed outstanding volunteer services to the community and the Wichita Police Department. They have demonstrated tireless and unselfish commitment to improving the quality of life throughout Wichita. This year's nomination was submitted by Ms. Carol Campbell. The 2012 Cooper McGee recipient is a dedicated community advocate. Since 1997, Leanne has held several board positions within the Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association. She volunteers with her law enforcement volunteer activities include assisting with the Citizen Police Academy and the Wichita Police Department's recruit graduations. She's also been involved with the annual KFDI and Wichita Police Department Christmas Crusade. She volunteers her time to assist with the annual Wichita Crime Commission Annual Drug and Gang Conference. She's involved in the Walk Against Gang Violence throughout our community. She's also involved in the accessible parking programs. I know Lieutenant Nolte is happy about that. And she also gives of her time to assist with the annual Law Enforcement Expo. On top of that, she volunteers in the community by working with the Salvation Army's emergency disaster. She responded to the disaster in Greensburg, and most recently the disaster that impacted the south part of our city as well as Oakland, the Oakland area. Leanne, not only is she involved in the Wichita Police Department and law enforcement as a whole, she found time to attend the first annual Fire Department Citizen Academy, and she continues to volunteer with the fire department as well. She's active with the annual Race for Cure through the Cancer Center of Kansas, and she's currently employed by the Via Christi Cancer Center Cyber Knife. You know, when you look at all the things that she's done, there's a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King that's one of my favorite quotes. And it says, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. Leanne, you are truly deserving of the Cooper McGee Volunteer of the Year Award because of your commitment, dedication, compassion, and courage to make a positive difference in the lives of the citizens within Wichita, Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Ms. Leanne Smith as the Wichita Police Department 2012 Cooper McGee Volunteer of the Year. At this time, I just want to recognize the newly elected District Attorney for Sedgwick County, Mark Bennett. Thank you for being here today, sir. I'm trying to see if there's any other dignitaries here that I overlooked, but appreciate you being here, sir. The next award is going to go to the Non-Sworn Employee of the Year. Is Aaron Riley here? Come on down. Bring your family with you. Come on. Please join her. The Non-Sworn Employee of the Year Award recognizes department members who's displayed tremendous initiative and performance throughout the year. They successfully completed special projects that enhance the police department's operations and provide exceptional customer service to citizens and department members. They also promote the Wichita Police Department's mission as well as core values, and has been a team player who has gone above and beyond to make a positive difference. This year's recipient was nominated by Andre Bugart. This year's recipient is Erin Riley. Erin began her career with the Wichita Police Department on September 11, 2006. She's a 6-year employee of this organization. After starting in the case desk, being assigned to the case desk, she was promoted in 2008 to the Service Officer 2 position and assigned to investigations, where she is now one of the hard dedicated workers within the pawnbrokers unit. A lot of people probably say, what exactly does a pawnbrokers unit do? Well, they regulate all pawnbrokers, secondhand dealers, precious metal dealers, and scrap processing businesses which operate within the city of Wichita. That is a tremendous responsibility when you hear the staggering numbers I'm getting ready to share with you. During the first part of this year, Erin, as well as her colleague, processed 460,432 property transactions throughout the entire city of Wichita, Kansas. They were also responsible for putting holds on about $250,000 worth of property. In other words, property that we couldn't identify, that we didn't know how to locate the owner. They put a hold on it, or it was involved in a crime. $250,000. Ironically, when you look at her initiative, she was also instrumental in being able to identify some property that had not been reported stolen in a burglary. They were gold coins. And so because of that initiative, we were able to flag those gold coins and tie those gold coins with some previous burglaries that were committed in the city of Wichita, Kansas. She's also worked with the Field Services Bureau crime analysts to look at how can we make the database user-friendly when it comes to searching for stolen property. And needless to say, in keeping with the department's philosophy of problem solving, they came up with a resolution that allows them to be able to identify stolen property quicker. On July of this year, she worked with Patrol West Community Policing and the supervisors trying to identify cell phone companies that were reselling cell phones, because there's an ordinance that requires that they have to have a license to be able to do that. Not only did she do that, she also provided a packet which listed the city of Wichita's ordinance, which deals with precious metals and all of those things. You know, she's a consummate professional. In September of last year, she sent out an email asking officers on that beat to check businesses that may not be complying with the city ordinance. And as a result, officers got back with her. She's also responsible for sending out an alert system when there's a significant metal theft that occur within our community. There again, that initiative that she's been able to display. What I really find is interesting, despite all that she's done, is what her colleagues have to say about her. Lieutenant Vaughn says that earned commitment to accountability has been reflected in the fact that we've issued more citations to businesses that have not been in compliance with the city ordinance, and that is a result of her efforts. He further states that she's been very intelligent, highly skilled, hardworking, dedicated service officer while in this position. Detective Mitch Gordon stated that the fact that Erin runs the pawn shop unit so well makes our lives better. She is by far the most dependable, reliable, and competent pawn shop representative we've had in many years. Outside of the police department, Mr. Steve Bosmeyer, who is with the city license, says, Erin knows the pawn shop rules very well. She's our go-to person when we have questions that need answers. She also is a real good communicator with the pawn shop applicants to make sure they understand what the requirements the city has in regards to reporting and complying with codes. You know, that's pretty doggone good when you have those kind of comments made by people you work with and they respect you. Detective Brad Tezuki says Erin is very competent, savvy, and competent. When you look over the last year, she's received the Wichita Police Department Distinguished Service Award. She's also, from the standpoint of community efforts, been involved in the coordination of a drive for cell phones for the 911 cell phone bank. She routinely gives blood with the Red Cross. Her willingness to help citizens and co-workers alike is reflected of how she lives her personal life. Erin is considered an outstanding co-worker who's also willingness to help and lend her expertise to find solutions for whatever problems is presented to her. She's always cheerful. She maintains a level of professionalism and is willing to give of herself. The thing that really stands out about her is the fact that she's actively involved with her nieces and nephews. Her number one goal in life, ladies and gentlemen, is to provide financially for her mother in her retirement, not for herself. That tells you what kind of person she is, that she places her mother's first. In closing, Erin is described as one of the nicest, most caring, and selfless person, both personally as well as professionally. Her diligence and hard work make her the perfect candidate for the NonSworn Employee of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Erin Riley as the Wichita Police Department 2012 NonSworn Employee of the Year.
She made me sound really great. I also want to thank Chuck Ulrich. Without him, it would just be a data entry job. We wouldn't actually be able to recover property. He's the one that actually keeps our office, going with all of his data entry. I want to thank Von Fang. I don't see him here right now, but he was my boss up until last month, and he always was patient with me and very dedicated. And I also enjoy working with all the burglary detectives. So most of all, I want to thank my mom and dad because they make me.
The third and final presentation is the Wichita Police Department's 2012 Officer of the Year. Is Detective Robert Chisholm in? Bob, where are you at? Come on down. When you look at the nomination for this award, there are several things that the award committee considered. They looked at the overall performance of the year of the candidate, commendations and department awards, specific incidents of exemplary performance, work on special projects, community involvement, as well as other things that are considered worthwhile. Detective Timothy Ralph, would you please come up front with your family? Detective Tim Ralph is a 27-year veteran of the Wichita Police Department. He began his career on the 8th day of July, 1985. Over the last 20 years, he's been one of our homicide detectives. He was nominated by Detective Robert Chisholm for this award. When you look at his assignments, he started out as a police officer. Unbeknownst to many of us in this room, he was one of the first field training officers when the department implemented the field training officer program. On May 11, 1992, he got promoted to the rank of detective, assigned to bunco and larceny. On April 11, 1992, he transferred to the homicide, where he became a gang expert. In 1997, he was appointed to the drive-by shooting task force. And as I've already mentioned, over the last 20 years, he's been assigned to the homicide. Over the past year, when you look at his case assignment, he's had 61 cases which involve homicides, suicides, dead bodies, and officer-involved shootings. Over the 12 months, he was assigned 4 different homicides as well. Ironically, when you look at what he does as a detective, sometimes we lose sight of his compassion and understanding for others. What I found out was Mrs. Linda Pate Osby, whose son, his name was Michael Osby, was killed in 1996 as a result of a homicide. Through the efforts of Detective Ralph and his colleagues, that case was able to be solved. One of the things that Mrs. Osby shared with Detective Ralph is the fact that I wish I had a picture of him. And so Detective Ralph, being the ingenious person that he is, was able to locate a photograph. Even though the photograph might have been somewhat tattered, he was able to get that photograph restored to the point that not only did he locate it, he framed it and he delivered it to her. And so by him presenting that photograph to Mrs. Osby, it was able to draw closure to a homicide that happened in 1996. Ironically, when you look at the fact that he also worked a case involving a juvenile that he charged, but the juvenile was placed on probation. And there was something in that juvenile that Detective Ralph saw special, because Detective Ralph wound up mentoring that juvenile. And because of the fact that he cared and he took the time to work with that juvenile, he was admitted to one of our local colleges, and he's now on the straight and narrow. Not only does he do that, he's also involved in fundraisers. He participated in the second annual softball tournament that raised about $2,500 for the James V. Riddell's Boys Ranch. He's also involved in teaching, where he assisted with Detective Wendy Jacob Hummel in presenting courses of anger management and consequences of bad behaviors at the Tudor Summer Daycare as part of an anti-bullying program. He's also provided instruction to the Boy Scout Troop 85 on identification and drug use. He's also given of his time to help other departments when it comes to homicides investigations. Departments like the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation, the Plano, Texas Police Department, New Hampshire Division of Justice, the Bel Air Police Department, the Sumner County Sheriff Department. He's spoken throughout not only the city of Wichita, but he's also spoken throughout the state of Kansas as far as sharing his experience, his knowledge, and his love for what he does. He's spoken at the El Dorado Police Department's Explorer, the Newton Rotary Club, the Andover Rotary Club, as well as the East Wichita Rotary Clubs. What does that tell you? It tells you he's a man that not only speaks for those that may not be able to speak to, but he also is out there leading as far as his compassion for this community. Recently, he was part of a team effort to sponsor a fundraiser for retired Lieutenant Kenny Landwehr, and as a result, they had a successful event that is able to help defer some of the costs that Lieutenant Landwehr is encumbering. Ironically, when I look at the summary of Detective Ralph's career, it's interesting. His colleague says that Detective Ralph's action during this time has conspicuously furthered the cause of law enforcement in the city of Wichita by outstanding inventiveness, intelligence, diligence, and devotion of duty. And not only that, he is a proud father of 5 children. Ironically, he did invite me to his house to be able to watch a football game. I can sit on the foot of the bed, so that ain't bad at all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the Wichita Police Department 2012 Police Officer of the Year, Timothy Ralph.
Todd made me write this down and made it short, and because he didn't want me to go on. But I learned if I don't write these things down, I don't make it through. And I wanted to, it's customary at a time like this to thank your family for all that they've done and sacrificed, but I'm really blessed. I have 3 families, of which have all played a big part in my life. First, I want to recognize my father, my brothers, and my sisters. My mother is gone, and my sister Gina's in Florida. But each one of them has been a source of encouragement and inspiration to me since my childhood. Through the years, they have made sure that I have known that they are proud of any accomplishment. My father does not miss an opportunity to brag of his children on our family website, and he is first to jump to our defense in times of trouble. My father and brother remain to me remain to this day my first and best heroes. Thank you to my wife, Tammy, and our 5 wonderful children. Tammy is the embodiment of what Father Jim Weldon recently described as selfless love. It is hard to describe, but it is unmistakable when it is felt. I mention this to let Father Jim know that when he looks out over that sea of glazed eyes during church, that someone is actually listening. Our 5 children, Patrick, Mariah, Noel, Jackson, and Corinne, are the greatest gifts we have ever known. While Tammy and I marvel at their academic and athletic accomplishments, the source of our greatest pride is each one of them is a kind and gentle soul, most of the time. And the second family I want to thank is my family and friends from Resurrection Church. This job jades one's outlook and many things, and sometimes that outlook can find its way into our personal lives. Father Orr taught me that time spent with these people should replace those feelings of fatigue and futility with the affirmation that overwhelmingly people are good, compassionate, hardworking, and caring. Father Jim, Father Orr, Michelle and Dave, Audrey and Mike, Beth and Scott, John and Cher, Brian and Susan, Skip, Greg and Teresa, and Don Hay, who has the unique job to have taught and treated each one of my children with incredible patience and kindness, and everyone else at Resurrection, including Jim Barnes, who is so decent he might as well be a Catholic. And I thank you as a group for what you provide, Tammy and I. Officers receive some required mandatory training every year. Usually at some point during this coma-inducing, mind-numbing session, we are often reminded that to maintain our mental health, we need something to provide balance. My friends, you are that balance. You personify the finest human qualities and give people like me the energy to continue to do the work that we love. That brings me to the people like me. My third family, the men and women of the Wichita Police Department. We are referred to as the thin blue line. But I know you people to be a bold force who respond to that cry for help in the night, restore peace to what was once chaos, pursue the lawless wherever they run, and prosecute those who would take advantage of the weak. I am honored to have served with each and every one of you. From my first day when I met my lifelong buddy Chuck Newman, I have come to know and admire so many. To Chief Williams, Tom Stoltz, and Terry Moses, you have led this department through most of my career and have stayed true to the ideal of fair and decent treatment. Whether we accomplish that is for others to debate, but I know that your hearts have always been steadfast in your ideal of justice. During my career, you have provided me with unconditional support and unparalleled faith in my abilities. To my greatest mentor, Kenny Landwehr, my friends Randy Reynolds, John Spear, Jeff Easter, Brent Allred, and Todd O'Joe. These are some of the finest men to have ever put on the Wichita Police Department uniform, and they have provided me with the platform to pursue the career that I have dreamed of since a child. My thanks to Kim, Deb, CJ, Mark, Nola, and all the people at the DA's office. Each one of you have shown incredible faith and confidence in me, and I hope that in turn I have shown and expressed my appreciation for the difficult job you do. Tammy has reminded me that I need to understand the challenge that it is to make me look good. Thank you to my fellow detectives and all of you that are here today. All of you are incredible people. I hope that I'm not defined by this work, but by the friendships I have forged. I have met a long list of honorable and heroic people that I have worked with. Dana, Kelly, Clint, Rick, Tom, Blake, Wendy, Heather, Matt, Lauren, Scotty, Richard, Sarah, Addie. I wish I could remember all of you. I believe each one of us has shared a special moment of time where we realized that we have made a difference. My friends, we have fought the good fight. We have run the race, and we have kept the faith. Then there is Robert. There is Robert. As I tried to say the other night before I got too choked up, I am the troubled younger brother that Robert never asked for. And he is the greatest friend that I have never deserved. There has never been anything said or written about me that is good that you could not change to the name of Robert Chisholm. Robert also loves his children. Robert is dedicated, and though he tries to downplay it, he loves this job. Though he repeatedly denies it, he really does like most of you. Like me, Robert has a hot wife and we both love her. Finally, I want all of you to know how blessed I feel each day. A long time ago, a man was arrested and put on trial for his life. Although he had the power to change his destiny, he did not. He reminded his followers and even his captor that if he wanted to, he could have legions of servants come to his side and fight for him. That passage always made me think that among us there is an army of quiet defenders that could be called upon at a moment's notice to protect the weak and fight for the just. I can proudly report back to that man today that in the past 28 years I have met many of those warriors, and I can assure him that his cause of justice is alive and well and in good hands. Thank each and every one of you, and God bless you.
If I can ask all the recipients to please join me up front again. Leanne Smith, Aaron Riley, as well as Detective Tim Ralph up front. You know, when you look at this year's recipients, there's a common thread here. It's a common thread that they're highly respected by their peers, by their colleagues. Each one of them was nominated by a colleague that believed in what they do and saw the goodness in their work ethic and thought that they were deserving of this recognition. The other part of that is that these are human beings that enjoy giving back. They enjoy making a difference in other people's lives. As I said before with Dr. King, everybody can be great because everybody can volunteer. We can all touch a life by what we do. And to the three recipients, I'm proud of you. Not only do you do a great job working with the Wichita Police Department, but the fact that you're great human beings that have compassion, commitment, courage, and dedication to make a difference one life at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, join me one more time in recognizing our three recipients for 2012. The reception line has commenced. Please.